My name is Dr. Uday. I'm a physiotherapist working at Arogya Physiotherapy Clinic. And in today's video, we are going to talk about back pain and 4 things you should remember regarding it. So I don't want it to be a mystery. This is me trying to dispel it. Okay. So first thing that I want to talk to you about is low back pain caused due to disc prolapse. A lot of people have this fear. They are not sure what exactly causes it. So I will tell you what exactly does it so you can keep those things in mind. Okay, so I have this model with me, and through this I'll explain exactly what is the issue. Okay, so you guys all know that there are muscles going behind your spine. Okay, so what those muscles actually do, they help give you stability. Okay, but in situations like when you're sitting for long periods, what basically happens is this natural curve of your spine becomes flat, and even in some cases it gets rounded like this. Okay, so imagine you have a piece of cloth or rubber in your hand and you're going to stretch it. You're going to stretch it for a long period of time. What is going to happen? Its length will increase. When length increases, especially in the case of muscles, its strength decreases. Its ability to contract, ability to give stability, that decreases. So that is what we are trying to work against. So that is first point. When that happens, muscle becomes weak, you are at a higher risk of having a lumbar disc prolapse. Second thing that happens, and this is supported by research, is prolapse mostly happens when you are bent fully, when your spine is completely flexed, and at that point you're trying to load it. That is when your disc gets prolapsed. Another mechanism through which it can get prolapsed is when you twist suddenly. Your spine is safe while it is twisting from the neutral position. So from this position, if you twist like this, you are safe, no issues, provided you are doing a force that is okay for your body. But if your spine is already twisted in this direction, and from this end range you're trying to twist to the opposite side, that is when you're going to put the most amount of shear force on your disc. What is shear force? This is the disc and this is the vertebra on top. Shear force is when your vertebra moves like this, pulling the disc, like pulling and pushing the disc with it. That causes damage, and that is one of the causes of lumbar disc prolapse. So if you keep these 3 mechanisms in mind, and I will tell you stuff that you can do so that you don't have this happen to you in your current day-to-day life, right? How you can mitigate this, how you can work with this, work with your body and strengthen. Okay, I will tell those few ideas and you can follow them. Very easy, you can do it on your own. And one more thing that I want to talk to you about is stability. So in the case of vertebra, in the case for our spine, we just think the muscles in the back, they will help stabilize the spine. Muscles in the front, that is our abs, they will stabilize the spine. So we think that it is like one muscle going from here, attaching here, like it's like this, keeping it straight here, this muscle keeping it straight here. That is a very simple idea, but in actuality that is not the case. See, behind the muscles behind the spine there are multiple muscles coming from the top and from the bottom. Multiple muscles originating and inserting here. They all don't have the same line of force. So if you really want to imagine in that example, think of this as a pole of a tent. Multiple lines are going in multiple directions, all having their specific force that they're applying to keep the spine in the shape that it is. And if any one of those lines of forces gets disturbed or is weakened, that is when you start seeing problems. So it is not generally because, oh, my abs are weak, oh, my back muscles are not strong enough. Not exactly that. It's much more granular, much more deep than it. Now we are going to come to the 4 points that I was talking to you about at the start of the video. First one is when you're sitting for a long time. In our current area, in the current scenario, we're going to sit in front of a computer for a long time. Once you start working, we forget about time and just clack, 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 clack. So what you're going to do is when you feel like, okay, I've sat for a long time now, you are going to stand up and you're going to stretch. Okay, that is what you have to do. I will explain that at the end. I'll show it practical how you want to do that, but just remember this in theory. So if you're going to sit for long, like I told you with the spine, your spine is going to get rounded, more pressure on the muscles will get lengthened, strength will reduce, less stability to the spine, back issues. Okay, if you understand that mechanism, you are golden. So for this, few things that you can do. First thing is, do not use chairs like this. Use specifically made chairs. They call it ergonomic chairs, office chairs, in which you can have multiple positions to sit. Do not stay in one particular position for long. Keep the variation on. Okay. The next thing that you can do is buy lumbar supports. These can be in the form of specific lumbar supports that you can buy in the pharmacy, or you can have a pillow, a long pillow that you can keep behind your back and just keep your spine stable. This is the first point. The next point is the stretches that you can do for your spine. The stretch that I mentioned in the last point is when you're sitting, and it is fairly safe stretch. You will not be bothered by it. The next stretch that I'm going to talk about is stuff that you should not do. That is specific to your particular condition. You should keep that in mind. For example, if you have lumbar disc prolapse, for lumbar disc prolapse, you should not bend your spine more forwards, like trying to touch your knee, trying to touch your legs, ankle. That will increase your pain. Similarly, if you have spinal stenosis, in that situation, you're not going to bend back. So if you're trying to bend back in spinal canal stenosis, that will again cause issue. So this is what you should keep in mind. Based on your condition, there are certain mechanisms, certain stretches that you should avoid to live pain-free, fairly pain-free. And one more thing that I want to explain with regard, since we're on the subject of pain, is back pain typically takes time. No matter who you visit, no matter what you do, if you want to be free of it permanently, it is going to take time, years on end, provided you exercise daily. There is no quick fix for back pain. You have to follow your schedule meticulously every day. But there is hope at the end of the tunnel. You can get free, pain-free completely, but it just requires some hard work on your end. The third point is, I've seen so many people strengthening the muscles of the back, but I feel like they're missing one important point. See, the point of the muscles of your back is not to move the spine not to move it very fast. The point of the muscles of the back is so that you can maintain the posture. For maintaining that posture, you need to have that contraction for a long period of time. And what does that mean? That means endurance. So instead of training for the typical muscle, how you train, it's like 2 10 sets or like 13 sets and just and go. For endurance, you have to do multiple sets, multiple repetitions of the same movement. Doesn't matter the weight. Multiple repetitions, multiple sets of the same movement, so that your muscle can be trained to handle that load for a prolonged period. According to research, the amount of force required by your back muscles and even your abs to maintain good posture is 10%. Only 10% of your muscles' force is required to keep your posture in the ideal way. So if you just improve your endurance, you will be good. Like how I was talking about the things that you should do while you're sitting, right? So one of the methods that you can follow is take a long pillow. If you don't have a lumbar support, take a long pillow and you will just move forward and lean onto the pillow. This will help you keep your lumbar straight. Make sure it is not flexed too much. Now you know why it should not be flexed, so keep that in mind. This is one of the methods that you can follow. This, if you can't get up and do exercises, okay? Just in case you have time, like let's say half an hour later you have time, just get up and do the stretch. So hands on top facing the roof and just nicely try to touch the roof. This will help you stretch your back. So if any way your spine is flexed or it's not in a good position, this will bring it back to the original position. It will help it reach equilibrium, reach a stable state, after which again you can sit and do your work. This is for while sitting. The following 3 techniques or 3 things that I'm going to show you are important for maintaining your spine stability. Make sure you're not putting too much force on your spine. The first thing that you can do, if you have something on the floor and you're trying to lift it, is do the golfer's lift. This is fairly common, but this is really good. It should be a very light weight, it should not be heavy. So you take this other one leg, push it back, and with that force you would land down and bring it up. This is nothing that you can do. This is golfer's lift. And if you have something heavy, that is down. Imagine, let's say this is a chair. You want to lift this. You will make sure your spine is in a neutral position. How you will do that is, first you will train like this. Bend a little bit forward, one hand at the abdomen, one hand at the spine. Monitor your spine ka curvature. Should be straight, should be neutral. In this position, whatever you're trying to lift, squat and lift. So you have to practice this for long. Once you practice this, it will become muscle memory and it will be good. It will be golden. Next thing that I want you to practice and learn, and make sure you're not doing this. So we see many people who are bent over like this. Either it could be because of their work related or any other thing. So they are in this position for long. They work in this position for like 1 hour, 1.5 hours. They suddenly come back up and then they're like, okay, I lift heavy. Never do that. So what you want to do is, if you're in this position for long, for 1 hour, 1.5 hours, come back up, stay in this stable position for at least 1 hour or 2 hours. Only then should you lift weights. Like we talked about earlier, the more you stretch that muscle, the weaker it becomes, the less stability you have, and the more chances of a disc prolapse. These are things I want you to keep in mind. So I will just give a practical example of how you should twist and how you should not. So let's just say this is the neutral position. Okay. If you're going to start twisting from here, you have something here and you're going to take with heavy torque and force, twist suddenly to the other side, that is dangerous for your spine. If you're not twisting from here, you're in the normal straight position from here. If you're trying to twist, that is fine and healthy for your spine. Next, a technique that you can follow if you're trying to lift and it is in an awkward position, what you can do is, let's imagine this is the weight and you're trying to lift it. If I try to lift, I can lift it like this, but it is not the most convenient thing for me. So what I'll do is, with this hand on the chair, I will transmit some of my force into the chair. So it is easier for me to lift this. My point being, use your body, your hands, to transmit the force, extra force that you have into the surrounding places, surrounding objects. And with that stability that you get, move the movement. Use it, do whatever movement you're trying to do. I hope the contents of this video were helpful to you. I hope with the knowledge that you have gained through this video, you will be able to avoid back pain, disc prolapses. If throughout the video, if you have any doubts, you can ask in the comments and we will reach out to you and we'll answer those to you. If not, we'll create another video for you. It's totally possible. But we need the support. So if you could just like, share and subscribe so you can witness your fitness with us.